Cool, thanks. Sorry
Yeah.
we're a little late here.
Oh, can you hear me okay, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. All right, I'm setting up my little rig here.
Cool. Okay, yeah, give me just 30 seconds, and Matt will be on.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Ron.
And that's working, and this is working.
Thanks for waiting, Ron. I have Matt for you.
Hey, Matt, what's up, man?
Good, how are you?
Good to talk to you, sir. Hey, I was but when Ken had called me, I was actually I was watching Deadland Ritual perform War Pigs on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, wow, what a band, man. I can't wait to see you bring that around. Jeez.
Oh, was that from Download or one of those?
It was at one of those festivals. It's just amazing. I really never thought I'd see Steve Stevens play War Pigs. It's just that band is incredible, man. I mean,
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
We went out and did that. We went out and did the European tour, and then we started trying to make a record, and it was just, it was really tough putting a new band together and being able to get it to work. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that project at the moment, but I am going to start on Kings of Chaos project here pretty quick.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Steve Stevens is one of my favorite guitar players.
Yeah, that
And
must have. What was that? I'm
we used
sorry.
to jam, he would come play with me, the Kings of Chaos. If you get a second, go on. There's a video of Glenn Hughes and
Wow.
Steve Stevens doing Highway Star from Australia.
Oh my God.
And he
Jeez.
plays the organ solo and the guitar solo note for note.
Wow. That's
And,
amazing, man.
And we would do Highway Star.
Oh, that's.
Glenn, Big Duff's on bass.
Jeez.
So I put together that super group, and then me and Steve, I'm like, Steve, let's do a band, and we found Frankie Perez. We always liked him,
Yeah, he's great.
and then I said, who should we get on bass? And I said, Geezer Butler just made a statement that Black Sabbath is over, and he still wants to play. So I called him, and he said, send me a song. So we sent, I believe it was Broken and Bruised.
Wow.
The second single we put out.
Man, that's something song.
And he said, I really like it. And we went in and tracked a few songs and put them out. We never got a record deal.
Do you have enough for a whole record? Do you guys have enough material for like a little something?
We do, yeah. We actually went out on the road and we played it live, which I thought was really fun to do. I've always, if you always listen to those early records of bands, especially like a band like, let's just say, Appetite for Destruction,
Yeah.
those songs
Yes.
were club worked for a couple of years before they recorded that album. So,
Yeah.
all they had to do was walk in the studio and put some mics up, and you're hearing a band that's, been rehearsing Welcome to the Jungle,
Wow,
that's why
man.
it sounds so great, because it's just worked out, they're a band, and I felt really the same about Deadland Ritual. I said, let's just go on the road and play this shit, then come home and record it.
Yeah, man. I mean,
people in the audience didn't really know what we were playing, except for every other song we'd throw in a Sabbath or a Velvet Revolver. We used to do Rebel Yell,
yeah.
We'd knock them over the head with, like, Symptom of the Universe, and, Sweet Leaf, or,
That's awesome, man. And did you do any Guns N' Roses songs? Did you do a Guns N' Roses song at all, or no?
Nah, we did Velvet, we did Slither.
Yeah, no, I guess you're a little more connected into that. I can understand that too. It's I get that. It's just so
I think
cool.
it's a little. I always thought it was a little bit sacrilegious doing that stuff. Like, even with Velvet Revolver, we covered Brownstone and It's So Easy. And
Yeah.
I always say to the band, I said, let's not try to go after the classics that are like atypical. You can't get up there and play Sweet Child of Mine. That just starts getting goofy. It's like, so,
yeah.
It's So Easy was right for Scott Weiland's voice, because Axl sang a low vocal on that.
Totally.
And he sang Mr. Melon dancing with Mr. Brownstone. Now he was lower.
Yeah. He's amazing.
Lay me alone. He wasn't like, it wasn't that high. And Scott goes, I can sing those.
Wow,
and
yeah, man.
Duff's vocal was the lead vocal on It's So Easy.
Yes,
So if you go back and watch any Velvet Revolver YouTube shit, we pulled those two, and then of the STP stuff, since Scott was in the band, of course we did Sex Type Thing, and then we did Cracker Man, because I always thought
Cracker Man's fantastic.
Slash could crush that riff.
Oh, totally. Absolutely, man. A couple things about Duff. I've been listening to, because Use Your Illusions, the Use Your Illusion albums turn 30 next month, and I kind of put out my own. I always know there was I think there's the best Guns N' Roses album inside that record, and I made this 10-track single LP version of Use Your Illusion, and the second to last song I put, because the last song I put was Civil War, and the second to last song was So Fine, and Duff is so good. He's such a good singer, man. I mean, that's one of the great surprises of listening to you guys for 35, listening to that band for 35 years. You know what I mean? The surprises, like Duff's voice,
So you compiled a single album out of that, right?
Yes. I started with You Could Be Mine. Oh shit! I have Dead Horse on there, 14 Years. Yesterdays. It's like the Stonesier stuff on there. I made
Yesterdays. Yesterdays was co-written by a guy named Wes Arkeen.
Yeah.
And Wes was the guy that co-wrote It So Easy. He was kind of like the sixth band member. He would be around. But yeah, I love that stuff. That Dead Horse.
Oh yeah, Dead Horse is way up there, man.
I mean, a lot of people would always say, well, Use Your Illusions might have been better if it was one record, and the intention was when we were ready to record that it was going to be one record, and then Axl came in with this genius idea about doing 2 album covers and putting it all out.
Yeah.
And we were all like, well, there's some stuff on here that maybe, I don't know if it stands up. There was definitely, I can be honest with you, Don't Cry wasn't one of my favorites. It ended up being the second single.
No, it's a great song, though.
I was always like, Don't Cry.
That was the, it's funny because that's the song, that is where I got into Blind Melon. That's where Shannon Hoon got on my radar, long before No Rain. I remember getting excited for that guy, their stuff, as soon as I saw him on the Don't Cry video,
Yeah. Well, he was around, he was a friend.
Yeah. No.
He was even wilder than us, man. He was like, we go, holy shit, someone's got to rein Shannon in, man.
I know. I wish he held on a little more, man, because those, I mean, even...
I just worked with his buddy, Christopher Thorne from Blind Melon.
Oh, awesome.
He the sampler book up at his studio in Joshua Tree.
Oh, excellent.
It's a book. Yeah, it's a vinyl record.
That's
And
awesome.
I recorded 10 new songs and then did a voiceover over them.
Oh, that's great, man. That's so cool. I can't wait to check that out, man. You know, Blind Melon were such a fantastic band. I mean, they really, just the way they just were so heavy. It's such they had such a unique sound. It's, you know, it was like almost like part Dead, part Zeppelin in a way, right? And
yeah,
boy, they were something else, man. You know, I found my I called the album "Choose Your Illusion," and I start off with "You Could Be Mine," "Dust and Bones," "Yesterdays," the original "Don't Cry," "14 Years," "Pretty Tied Up," "Bad Apples," going into "Dead Horse," "Double Talk and Jive," then "So Fine," and then I end it with "Civil War." And I figured that would have been.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty great record.
That would have been. I'm telling you, that I feel like this record's better than "Appetite for Destruction," to be honest with you.
And I've been. Let's remix it. Let's remix that fucker.
Oh, it's so good.
Snare drum.
But that's the beauty of those albums. You can make it is. It's like, you know, the fact that he even did that, just the 2 records. Because I read in your book how he did it, just to, you know, to just sort of, you know, get the most out of it, right? The most bang for the buck.
Well, Axl had the big vision about taking the band on tour for 5 years. He's like,
yeah, like never-ending tour.
We're going to go on the road. We're going to have 5 years of legs. So, you know, in the business, they used to say making a record's going to give you legs for the tour, right? That was,
yeah.
So, you know, traditionally in the old days, you made a record, you went out to support the record as an advertisement to sell records.
Yeah.
You know? Now it's bands are out on the road selling tickets for $300. It's like,
I know. It's
in those
crazy.
days, tickets are $25, and we go out and sell millions of records.
Yep.
And every town that you rolled through, you would see the report, either before you played or after, that shit, they sold 100,000 records in Cleveland, Ohio, or whatever, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And you know, the radio stations would play it more because you were coming through, and that was the thing. So Axl's like, let's do 2 records separately, and then we're gonna go to the road. We're gonna go on the road for 5 years. We all looked at each other and went, 5 years? We're like, what? We lasted 3.5, but
yeah,
it almost killed us all. But
I know, but you know, the beautiful part about that is that's the beauty of having 35 years now with Guns N' Roses in my life. As a fan, you know, I mean, when Appetite came out, I was in 8th grade. When Use Your Illusion came out, I just started my senior year. I'm class of '92, and we skipped school to buy those records, man.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was a big day. I remember when it happened, and I say it in my book where Duff called me. Duff called me up, and he's like, "Man, we sold 2 million records in that first day, I think."
People were so excited. I don't think you understand how excited kids were.
I used to live above Tower Records.
Oh, man.
Me and Axl lived in the same building. We lived in this building called Sorum Towers.
Yeah.
And Axl was on the 12th floor, and I was on the 6th floor. But I had this corner, like, condo, and it overlooked the Sunset Strip. And I could see down the tower, records. And at midnight the night before, there was a line all the way up the street.
Wow.
Because they were going to open that next morning. And I remember sitting on the balcony, partying and drinking and watching the shenanigans.
At the midnight sale.
People that were buying that record know that me and Axl were just up the hill there. And that time, that was right before Axl bought his house in Malibu, which he still lives in.
Wow.
And I had an apartment in town, and then I bought a house out in Malibu. So we both had like these city apartments, if you will. They were like, David Lee Roth lived across the hall from me.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
And I remember he would come in late at night, you know, from being at the Rainbow or whatever. We could almost walk to the Rainbow from our apartment.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so we would stay there. You know, most of the time we would get you drunk or something. We didn't want to get in the car and drive back to Malibu.
Yeah.
They didn't have Ubers in those days. You know, you could get a fucking Uber. You know.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, totally. Imagine.
Would have saved me a lot of fucking trouble, I'll tell you that.
Right? I mean, I don't know if it could have worked, though. I don't know if it could have worked without the cellular service.
Well, that's true.
Seriously.
Payphone, you know?
Yeah, right? It'd be like...
Standing in front of the rainbow, or a beeper, you know?
Yeah, right? The beeper, the old school beeper. Holy shit. That was the beeper era. That was like the height of the beeper era was when Use Your Illusion came out. All the kids started rocking beepers in my school.
Yeah. Funny.
But, you know, the one thing I always thought was the beautiful thing that I think came out, and I'm listening to it now, and I appreciate it, almost like you kind of go back and listen to, you know, discovering, like, the Nicky Hopkins album through, like, the Stones and shit like that, you know, like, I'm going back and listening to, like, all the solo albums that had come out after you guys all left Guns N' Roses. And Believe in Me and Pawn Shop Guitars, which is so good. 5 O'Clock Somewhere. I mean, it's such a great, like, kind of multiverse now. It's like a great kind of... It's such a great catalog of music, you know? I mean, it was like right after the Beatles broke up and then, like, all those great solo albums came out, you know?
Yeah.
And what was your favorite to work on, man? Like, what was your favorite one of those? Like, when you guys first started putting those records out, was there one that sticks out in your mind? Neurotic Outsiders too.
The Neurotic Outsiders thing came, you know, which is kind of you know, there's certain people that know that album. They're like, man, I love that record.
Yeah, that's a deep one. I love it.
Well, that happened, you know, sort of by accident. You know, me and Duff and Steve Jones,
Man.
and John Taylor, we got together to do this charity event with this friend of ours that had cancer. We needed some money, and we're like, okay, let's go play. So we went down the Viper Room, and that night I remember it was like Doug Feiger from the Knack, and
Wow.
all these different people playing. I feel like Brian Setzer was there. And we got up, we did some Pistols, and we did some Iggy Pop. Duff sang Iggy Pop, and we did Pistols, and I remember going, wow, this is a really cool little unit we got here. So it was like Johnny Depp would come, you know, because it was his place. And he was sitting there, and I remember him saying something like, you guys should play every week. And, but what? So we started doing a residency there. We played every Monday night, and we were that. And all of a sudden, another situation where there was a line around the block to come see us, because, like, Billy Idol jumped up with us, Ian Astbury, Iggy Pop came one night.
Wow.
You know, Brian Setzer came up. I remember Peter Gabriel came up. He wanted to come up, but he didn't know any Pistol songs.
Oh.
One night we had one of the girls from fucking Spice Girls jumped up there and did like God Save the Queen or.
That's great. So it's almost like rock and roll.
40 Spice.
Really? Wow, that's great, man.
Fun. Anyway.
That's fantastic.
There was this young record man. He was probably 19 or 20 at the time. Guy O'Siri.
Yeah, Guy.
Was on the front row. And the joke was we were doing the gig so Steve Jones could get his knob sucked. That was the joke. and every night we say, we go to the dressing room. John Taylor was this fucking handsome guy.
Yeah.
I say, John, can you go find a girl to get Steve's knob sucked? And he goes, no, it's not my job, mate. It's not my job. And it was just a joke. And we would do it every week. And you know, most of the time, Steve looked great then. He was a handsome dude.
Yeah.
He had no problem getting girls. So, one night, this young A&R guy comes in, named Guy O'Siri, and says, hey, you guys are amazing. I love this band. And I want to sign you to Maverick Records. It's Madonna's record company. It's a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. I just signed Alanis Morissette. Ba 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 da ba. And I think Austin Powers had just come out or something, and I yell, $1 million. and he goes, okay. And I looked at Steve Jones. He goes, is he serious? So he signed us.
That's great.
We got this big multi-million-dollar record deal, and we made a record.
Yeah, that
and
record's...
Also we were a band. And then around that time, Steve Jones and the Pistols got back together.
Wow.
So we went out, we toured a little bit, went to England. We did a couple of East Coast runs. We did a little bit of touring. And the band probably could have done really well. It was a cool band. We were always selling out. Like, you know, we do the Irving Plaza. We do, like, you know,
yeah,
2,000, you know, 1,500. And
that's perfect.
Remember Billy Idol was following us around, wanting to sing with us.
That's
like,
awesome.
It would have been a really huge band if we would have let Billy Idol be the front man. But we were like, we don't want any lead singers. We were all anti-lead singer at the time. We were like, Steven had, you know, the situation with Johnny Rodden and you know, Johnny Lydon, and, you know, me and Duff were like, let's just do our own thing. And,
yeah. And I'm sure, you know, John Taylor was probably a little tired of the, you know, I don't know if Simon Le Bon was a enfant terrible or something, but, you know, who knows.
We just wanted to be a band with like 4 guys with instruments, you know?
Yeah, and it's great, too.
And each guy sang, and so we just kept it that way, but I think back and I go, fuck, maybe we should have let Idol sing. It would have been pretty big, and
you know,
all gone out and, you know, had a whole other career, but me and Duff went back to Guns at that point. Duran ended up, you know, going out, and they're still out there, you know.
Yeah, and they're putting out good records now, too. They have, like, the last couple of records have been awesome. And it's great to see. It's amazing to see how you know, how time has treated some of the bands. You know, like, I still think those are still such good songs. They're such good songwriters, Duran. I mean, those songs are amazing. And they give me a warmth now, too, because it reminds me of when I was young, you know?
Yeah.
You know, but...
I feel that way, too. You know, it's like, I don't know if you heard the new Billy Gibbons record I did.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you all about that, too, so... But tell me.
So go ahead. You just keep asking questions and all.
No, but the Billy Gibbons, you know, first of all, you know, I never saw ZZ Top. I've always wanted to see ZZ Top, and I would always assume I'll always get to see them, you know, for at least for the next year. And I just did not expect Dusty to pass away. I'm heartbroken. I'm going to try to go see them again, but, you know, it's such a shock. And I was wondering, you know, I can imagine, you know, how you guys are, you know, what did you think when you heard the news? You know, it's just, where were you at with ZZ Top until you got to Billy, you know?
Well, you know, me and Billy are really close friends, and we speak almost daily, and, you know, he's become a really close friend of mine over the years. And so when they got back out on the road, you know, he was really excited to get back out on tour again, because, you know, we've been, you know, they've been off for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So the fact that he just got going again, and then, you know, that happened with Dusty, and Dusty went home and had this sudden death, you know, was a shock for everybody. I don't know if it's completely sunk in for the camp, for their camp.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that the only way to deal with the grief was just to continue playing. So the guy that played with us on tour is Billy's longtime guitar tech, Elwood Francis.
Yeah.
I've known since the late 80s.
Yeah, he's great. So
back to the Metallica days.
Wow.
He jumped up front and played bass. Just because I think that was the only savior for the entire group of people around that band.
That was great.
Like Billy said, if we don't continue, what are we going to do? Go home and do what?
That's right.
And there's a lot of people behind that machine that runs ZZ Top. You know, the crew and their families.
Oh, yeah.
It's deep. It runs very, very deep. And they've been the same group of people around that band going on 50 years. I know.
Well, over 50 years, right? I mean, they you know, there was an argument on some of my friends on Facebook. I think they're the longest, the one band, at least in America, that's had the same lineup for 50 years.
Yeah, and I would say that there's some of the crew members that have been there for at least 30.
Wow.
I mean, I know some for sure that have been there 30 years.
Yeah, it's so, you know, it's.
So that being said,
yeah,
Billy was like, well, you know, there's a lot of people to support here. There's a lot of other things that need to happen. I mean, I think the fans are gonna look up on that stage and go, wow, this is something really different about this. But you have to kind of like say, well, let the music live on, continue moving. What are the other guys going to do? It's more about legacy.
Oh yeah.
Everyone knows that Dusty was that, and I think out of respect, they only took a few days off and just kept going. And as Billy would say it, that's the way Dusty wanted it, and that's the last thing he said to him.
Oh, I can imagine.
So,
the road goes on forever. It's not just a saying; it's really what goes on, right? I mean,
yeah.
And it's beautiful. It really is. It actually, and of course, after someone dies, you go back and listen to the albums. And I actually took the time out to listen to like Tejas, which I never really spent a lot of time with, and Afterburner, which I really love now. I don't know. There's something about listening to it in 2021 that's so cool. That's such a
yeah.
Isn't that a cool record? Like just with Velcro fly.
When we went to do Hardware, another huge loss in Billy's life was Joe Hardy.
Yeah.
And that only happened 2 years ago.
I know, jeez.
And I remember when Joe died, me and Billy had some talks about, what he was going to do next. Because as a collaborator, Joe Hardy was a very important, integral part of ZZ Top. And Joe Hardy was responsible for that whole 80s resurgence. He was the guy that introduced Billy to drum machines and bringing in the electronic aspect that took a blues-based rock band into the 80s and made them have a whole other career.
Yeah.
Like ZZ Top could have faded into the foreground, but instead they reinvented themselves and came with another sound.
Totally.
And that was Joe Hardy. So when Joe Hardy passed, I put my arm around Bill. I said, Billy, come to my studio. Let's do some stuff. And I introduced him to this engineer buddy of mine, Chad Slozer, who's like a genius behind the board.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know if he's going to be the same or as good as Joe, but I want you to try him out.
Huh.
Billy came. He's very, he's a taskmaster in the studio. He knows what he hears, knows what he wants.
Yeah.
And he ran my friend Chad to the mill.
Oh,
and Chad stepped up, and Billy called me up and goes, you know what, Matt? I want to make a record. Let's do this. So it was a real process for Billy to trust us, and be able to work with new guys in the studio.
Yeah.
Producing, and I co-produced with him. And,
No.
He has his way of doing things, but I said, Bill, let's go back to a stripped down rock and roll sound. Let's skip the drum machines.
Yep.
Let's just rock.
Totally.
Let's go back. Let's strip it down. Let's play it. Let's record it like raw. And I talked him into it, and that's what we ended up doing, and that's what you hear on that record, basically.
Which one? Which one you talking about? Hardware?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good, man. God, it's such. Yeah, it is. It's a loud record. It's just such a fantastic record. I'm getting a new CD. I'm still a dinosaur that listens to CDs in my car, and I have to get my new CD player put in. So I gotta. It's you know what I mean.
Yeah, some real good cuts on that record. We made it really stripped down. We were out in the desert. We lived up in this ranch for like a few months.
Yeah.
And Billy would wake up and make Mexican breakfast, and it was just a great time. And it really warmed my heart, or warmed me up to the music business again, that there is a lot of really great things that I can still do with, collaborating with the right people, and he's one of them. Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic, man. I mean, these solo albums that he's doing are so good, and and it must be fun just to be able to just even doing the Kings of Chaos. It's just who's going to be singing on this next one?
I'm gonna get interesting with it. I'm gonna mix it up. I'm not saying I'm doing like country music, or I'm not sure I'm gonna bring in rappers, but you never know.
That'd be nice.
I'm gonna keep it really open-minded. Obviously it's gonna rock.
Yeah,
but,
totally.
If I want it to be successful, I probably need to go after something that's gonna be able to resonate on the radio. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say he's a young guy now, but I love Corey Taylor, and I love, work with Miles. Those are guys that are still on modern rock radio. And
yeah, Miles is great.
I love to work with some more alternative singers. I love Brandon Flowers from Killers. I love, there's a lot of cool guys out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's an amazing time, man, especially, when you think about, like, what Miley Cyrus is doing is just incredible. And, or, like, even, like, they're coming out of left field. Like, Olivia Rodrigo, she put out...
I love Miley. She's a badass,
She's so good.
I had that idea. I wanted Miley and Billie Idol.
Billie Eilish, she's so good. It's just...
She's a little rocker, man. She's got the rocker spirit.
It's amazing.
She grew up and became this girl that can do whatever the fuck she wants, man. And she's cool. And I think she's totally accepted into the rock and roll world. There's a bit of a divide sometimes between pop and rock,
Yeah, but it seems like you can tell the people that are real. Like I learned that when Justin Timberlake put out his first solo record, he used the Neptunes and Timbaland exclusively. And I knew, he's a head. He's a music head, obviously. He's choosing these cats. And, you could tell the real guys. But it's so funny, too, because I just recently watched, what was it? The Right Stuff, the New Kids on the Block video. And Jordan Knight's wearing a Bauhaus shirt. Did you know that?
Yeah.
What's up with that? That was so out of left field because I never noticed it because I wasn't like studying that video when I was a kid. But then I look at it and I'm like, what? It was the most random thing I ever.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? Hey, how's your? What was that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, how's your baby doing, man? Congratulations on the baby, bud.
We're great. My wife's outside with her right now. She has morning time. She's been up for a little bit, so we're gonna put her have a little afternoon nap. But we got a whole regime here. We're taking a whole summer. We're here. We got a little bit of paradise here in Santa Barbara.
That's awesome, man.
Just enjoying the kid.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Get in those babies, those fresh baby smells when you can, man. When they get older, they don't.
Oh, she's great.
It's
So hey, Ken is telling me 2 minutes. I've been running a lot of press today. So
oh yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Let me let me ask you one last thing, man. Actually, so what was it? Where did you come up with the idea to do the memoir? Like was there one memoir that you read, or like when did you decide to like do this thing?
No, I think it's always been sort of a common thread through my life. People would always say to me, "Hey, man, you got great stories. You should write a book."
Yeah.
And it wasn't about the money or a monetary thing or any of that shit. It was almost like it was more of a timing thing. And for myself, it was almost like going to getting like a cathartic psychiatrist take on my life. To be able to read it and go, well, hey, I have changed. Things are good. I had a crazy wild ride, but it's all on paper now, and to kind of go through there and fine tune it. And, I hope you enjoyed it. Got some, introspective on, who I am or what was the reason I do this, and where I've come and gotten through it. Life story kind of stuff. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, totally. One thing one thing that I didn't realize that the cult album that you did with them between Good and Evil that turns 20 this year. And
oh my God.
And I was thinking, were you happy that you were able, you had toured with them, you just missed, you were touring Sonic Temple, but it wasn't you on the record. Were you happy to finally have that one record with those guys, like that studio album?
Yeah, I started on the Ceremony record, and then I ended up, there's some stuff out that they put out, like the song White, some other songs that I recorded.
Yeah, Ceremony.
And they ended up coming out on some compilation things, but, I wasn't really happy with the direction of the album, but there's some people that really like it. I remember I got a call one day from Tom Morello, and he's like, I just got Beyond Good and Evil, man, that's an amazing record. I wanted to make the Electric album again.
Oh, man.
That's like,
One day, Matt. I hope that happens one day, man. I hope you guys do it, man. I hope one day, maybe in 5 years, you get back with Rick Rubin. Yeah. You could do a classic record. That's the beauty of it, and that's why I love seeing all the stuff going on now with you guys. It's been a fun ride, man. It really has. And like I said, it was really cool, man, talking to you. And I just remember, like, when I was also watching the You Could Be Mine video, and that was the first time I saw you with Guns N' Roses, and I remember thinking how badass you were with the blue bandana, and you looked like almost like Bonham, like almost like bigger than like Adler, because Adler was kind of like, Adler, and it was just so cool. And then that You Could Be Mine is still just the sickest song, man, right? I mean, where is that? Do you love that record, that song?
Well, that was one of those songs that was like, I guess it becomes my sort of, my classic,
Yeah.
That's the big drum intro.
Totally.
I came up with that on in the book I did it was the third take, and I used to like this drummer Terry Bozzio.
Yeah, Terry.
I was always messing around with those kick drum.
Totally.
Pattern, and I did that fill, and everyone looked over at me and like, what was that? And we just kept going, and Mike Kling said, that's a take. It was take 3 of You Could Be Mine, was the one that made the album.
That's awesome, and that's one of the best Duff McKagan bass lines too, man. I mean, Duff is such a great bassist. I don't think people give him enough. Yeah, people give him enough.
He's a punk rock drummer too, So
yeah.
Me and Duff would always chuck a jive on the punk rock beats, and I was more of like classic. Came from Bonham and Keith Moon and Ian Pace, and then progressive music, and I wasn't a punk guy.
Yeah, but he was the punk.
Would go, no, man, play it more like this. And he would jump on the drums sometimes. Like there's a song off Velvet Revolver. It's called Believe a Lie.
Yeah.
And it's got this crazy beat. At the time, he was listening to the band The Refused. And he sat down on the kit.
Refused is sick.
He came up with that beat.
Wow.
And I was playing bass. And I would grab the bass. And we'd fuck around like that.
That's
awesome,
dude.
I always wanted to hear other perspectives on what the rhythm was. Like, what kind of rhythm do you hear?
Yeah.
And he would always come up with, like the middle of All the Pieces, where I do that.
Yeah.
That was stuff. He's like, break it up, do something weird. And,
that's awesome.
And I go, okay. So I'd come up with that sort of interesting, drum patterns that weren't necessarily a straight beat.
I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's good talking to you, man. And I'm telling you, I'm so grateful you guys all came out of all that shit in your book on the other side, happy, healthy. You're still making fucking music. It really, I'm so grateful. You know what I mean? It really is. We've lost so many people, to think about you guys and Iggy Pop and these cats that are still doing it, man, and it's just amazing, right?
Yeah, I know. Thanks, man. You got to get back out there. See these guys where they're still around,
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's why I'm grateful to, I got to see Guns N' Roses for the first time last week, actually. I saw them at MetLife.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was cool. They were selling, it didn't sell out, so I got a $29 seat up in the nosebleeds. It was great. It was Richard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Ferrer's doing it.
I think people are still a little bit timid about going to shows, huh?
Yeah, but I figured I had my own row. I was fine, and I didn't mind sitting up. Although you do lose some fidelity. I didn't get to hear Dizzy as much as I wanted to, because I feel like Dizzy is a very underrated, part of the Guns N' Roses, especially like the Use Your Illusion sound, and he is. He's like a Nicky Hopkins, man. He's fucking.
Yeah, Nicky.
Right? I'm telling you, man. You guys
cool, brother.
All right, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate you talking to me too, man. Good, best of luck with the baby, and I hope that hopefully you get out there, with one of the bands, man, soon next year or something. All right, my friend. All right, dude. Talk to you soon, bud. Have a good rest of the summer.
You too.
All right, take care, sir. Bye-bye.